Can you actually receive it? Are you ready? The universe is here, handing it to you on a platter, right here at your door, knocking. What does that feel like in your body? The $5 million in the bank account, the loving soulmate relationship, the dream home, the lottery win, like it's at your door knocking. What does it feel like in your body to open that door and receive it? Your soul already knows what's available for you. Your soul already has the whole picture. Start to embody that. Really start to let your soul lead and call the shots. When you do that, you are living by certainty. But most of us are used to letting our mind and our ego call the shots. Ego mind does not know the way. It does not have the map. It's creating your reality by looking back in the past or predicting based on logic and probability and past performance. And much that we trust in that we can't see. So what if you decided to have certainty in your dreams before they're realized? What if you decided to believe in the unseen as if it is fact, as if it is a given? Hey, beautiful soul, welcome back to the Abundance Club. I am your host, Amy Wilkinson, and I am so delighted to have you tuning in to this podcast episode because we're talking quantum leaps. And I want to talk about quantum leaps not as this mystical, lofty concept, but as a real grounded reality. I want to normalize quantum leaps. What is a quantum leap? And how can we best prepare ourselves for one? Because in truth, this is available to all of us. This isn't, and I want to normalize it because quite often we can get into this idea, this thinking around a quantum leap being something that is miraculous. And in many ways, there isn't a miraculous element about it when it comes to quantum jumping or collapsing time. And I'm going to speak about a little bit more about what that actually means. But when we remember who we are, which is a big part of what I do in my work and this podcast, if you're listening to this, when we remember who we are and we tap into our infinite nature, this becomes a normality. This becomes an inevitability. But there are some pieces, some key codes, I call them embodiment codes, that bring you into a space where that becomes an inevitable. And if you abide by these codes and you dedicate yourself to living by these codes, these universal embodiment codes, that's when this quantum leap becomes an inevitability. Now, what I want to just do a little disclaimer around this, none of this is about forcing an outcome or forcing change. And I think that this is where it can get a little bit murky in the manifestation space, particularly when people are caught up in this paradigm of efforting, over efforting, and making things happen. This isn't about force. This isn't about control. This isn't about going against nature. Quite the contrary. This is about aligning with your true nature and what becomes possible when you become the version of you that is fully available for what is already alive in the field, what is already waiting for you in escrow, what already exists. And I've said this before, we're not creating anything, right? Everything, creation is finished. Everything already exists here in the field as a possibility, as a potential. So when you become the frequency of what it is that you're desiring, because it is desiring you at the same time, even more than you're desiring it. But in order for it to be a living and breathing 3D reality, there needs to be resonance. And this is the law of vibration, and it exists like gravity. It just is. When we can understand not just how to know these laws, but actually start to live and breathe these laws, this is when reality starts to bend in our favor. This is when we start to play in the infinite field, and all of this is accessible and available to us. So what is a quantum leap? This is what I call a dynamic shift in your reality that's not bound by logic. It's not bound by time and space. All of the constructs that we have bought into in this three-dimensional reality, meaning that we can actually collapse time when we quantum leap. We move beyond the realm of logic into the realm of the infinite, what I call infinite possibility, infinite supply, which is in essence getting in attunement with your true nature, because that is what you are. You are not confined by the rules of engagement that you believe you are. Let's just make that really clear, because you have subscribed to certain rules of engagement that have informed or strengthened your own belief system that is then creating the reality that you are living in. Your truth is that you are an infinite soul, not separate from what you desire, not separate from what is already existing in the field here waiting for you. So I want to try and do my very best to break this down so that it feels relatable, so that it feels grounded, and so that it feels accessible. A quantum leap is not something that we chase. If you are chasing something in your life, if you are chasing a desire, or even if you are doing the steps to try and get somewhere, what you're doing is you're emphasizing lack. So you're actually creating just more of a distance between where you are and where you would desire to be, or what you desire to experience. Instead, a quantum leap is something that you become available for. When you learn how to normalize what you are desiring in your field, so you normalize it in your field as already being so, as already existing, as already being alive, you signal to your body that it's safe and it's normal. And what that does, it creates resonance. And resonance closes the gap, because like attracts like. So if you are living and breathing and your body is on board as if this is already so, then you can't help but attract in that living and breathing reality. So what I often see in the manifestation space is force and effort. So people are still operating in the very paradigm that is actually keeping them in lack and limitation. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy that just keeps reinforcing. So if we are creating from force and effort, we are emphasizing this gap because we're coming therefore from lack. And so we're still playing in this same three-dimensional paradigm and those same rules of engagement. So none of this is actually mystical. It's vibrational. But we do need to learn how do we work with my energy? How do I understand and harness my true power? Because we are living through a time right now where we are being invited so deeply to embrace, to remember our power as an individual soul. Because when we talk about the new paradigm, that is not something that we go out and force or chase or even try to create. It's actually something that is birthed through us, through our embodiment, through our becoming, through our remembrance. So when we're forcing and efforting our way towards something, we're not actually trusting and knowing that it's already here, which means we're not operating by the laws of the universe that are created for our benefit, that are created in order for us to realize and actualize our true potential. That's why we're here as souls. We are limitless. Where we've come from is limitless. And we come into this human form and under the illusion that we are limited, and we're here to remember how to use our power to create, to become available for the miraculous. So today I want to help you out with the embodiment codes required for a quantum leap in your life. When you utilize this, you are operating beyond the confines of the 3D world that says you have to do X, Y, Z in order to achieve this. When you're quantum leaping, you're skipping over all of that and you're taking a shortcut because our soul is that powerful. And that is available to us, all of us. It's just that quite often we don't know where to look. We're doing the same thing. We're in this habits and we're in the same patterning that we don't know what's available if I go around this way, if I actually take this little shortcut here. That's kind of what a quantum leap is. So we know our soul exists in the infinite. There's only around 10%. I mean, I don't even want to put a figure to it, but there's an aspect, a small aspect. So if it's around 10%, it's a small aspect of our soul essence that's actually here housed in our physical body. The rest of us, because we exist beyond this body, is playing and creating in the field of pure potentiality. So when you begin to harness your power as a soul and to live as that and to utilize your energy to actually become a match for what you desire, reality can't help but shift. That is a universal law. So what's really important to know here, though, is that this all starts with you. No longer are we here to wait for circumstances to change in order to feel a certain way. We are the change makers, right? We are the change makers, and we bring through. Life moves through us, through our becoming, through our embodiment. So we cannot be separate from ourselves in order to raise up our frequency. If we are trying to raise up our frequency, but we are not tapped into our truth, it's not going to happen. So this is where we come back into reclaiming our true power, which is not in, it's no longer in your output, in what you're doing, in having this fancy strategy in your business, in doing all of the things. That is old paradigm thinking. New paradigm says it's in who you're being. It's in your energy frequency. And all of that informs any action that you take. So really, the very first thing to be aware of is this necessity in being able to set aside the ways that we have been co-signing our own limitation. What does that mean? The ways that we've been putting an energetic ceiling on ourselves, on what we believe is possible for ourselves. So whether that's in an income, and we have energetic ceilings. Why am I having trouble saying that word? Or energetic set points around what we're available to receive income-wise. You'll see that reflected. Why every month it just seems to be, no matter what bills come in or no matter what bonus I get, I seem to just sit around that same set point of income. We have this in relationships, why we might attract in those same relationships, right? It's all reflective of what we are available for and where those set points lie. So the part of us that doesn't believe that we can have it all is setting those ceilings in the different aspects of our life, and we all have them. So what part of you right now, I want to ask yourself this, what part of you right now doesn't believe you can have it all? And when I ask that question, I want you to actually notice how your body communicates, because our mind can be thinking one thing. Our mind can be thinking, yeah, I'm available for $1 million. I am available to be in this incredible loving soulmate relationship, right? I'm available to be debt free, like whatever that is. Our mind can have one thing and our body can be telling a completely different story. And so if we have got conflicting signals that are being sent out, there's no coherence, which means there's no resonance. So if we're sending out an incoherent signal, what are we attracting back in? Incoherence. Same thing. So we need to be able to not only have our intentionality, our mind on board, which is easier to do than our body, our nervous system, right? Our subconscious, because that's really what's running the show behind the curtain. So in order to do this, we need to be really honest with ourselves and take stock in order to shift out of the limiting beliefs. So we need to take stock and notice, where do I keep limiting myself? What are those thoughts that keep coming over? Where am I limiting myself in my identity? Because all of that is what's been co-creating the current set points that define what you are experiencing at the moment in your life. And we need to begin to expand our capacity for more. So I'm going to talk about this more in this episode. So if we have allowed that to occur, because obviously we've allowed it because we're experiencing it, our reality, and we're not a bystander, we're a co-pilot here. We've co-signed certain beliefs, we've taken on certain assumptions. And we are also the ones then, if we've taken them on, we are the ones to remove that conditioning, to rewrite the script, and to define new rules of engagement. And rules of engagement that are not rooted in the old paradigm way of effort, struggle, not enoughness, right? And so we begin by contemplating, and you might even want to write this down. If I no longer believed in lack and I chose to believe that anything was possible, what would I right now make myself available for? What would I start to let in? Right? So in preparing for a quantum leap, we have to know that it's already done. It already exists. So the key thing is, number one, decision. You have to decide. This is a key code because everything else responds to your decision. And a woman or man who is decisive is one that is in their power. So you have to get yourself on board with what you are inviting in. And I'm not saying just decide with your mind. I want you to decide with your body. So this is not wishful thinking. This is not, maybe someday I will go on a trip overseas. Maybe someday I'll earn $1 million in my business. It's not hoping, it's not crossing your fingers. This is a decision that originates in the core of your being. And I want you to just feel that for a moment, like feel the energy of deciding rather than hoping, wishing and praying. Even praying, so much of the time we give our power away in prayer. What if your prayer became more of a command, more of a decision? Because what you then do is you state to the universe, right, this is what I am choosing, right? It's a commanding energy which tells the universe, this is the reality I am now deciding upon. I'm now choosing. Notice how that feels in your body. Right? So the moment that you decide that, straight away your energy starts to reorganize around that decision because you stop negotiating with limitation. It's not maybe, possibly, it's like, right, from this moment. Amazing things for me have shifted in my life when I have made a decision. And the decision energy is not, I'm going to give this a go and see how it turns out. I'm going to try this, but if not, I can fall back on this. Decision is there's only a plan B, right? And what that does is it brings all of your energy on board. It brings all of your energy on board, and you stop entertaining timelines that no longer match who you are identifying as. And the decision starts to inform the identity. Already in being a decisive person, you've shifted your identity from someone who is indecisive, from someone who is unsure. And when you can start to feel that shift of energy in your body, watch out, like you're starting to bring more of your power on board. This is what soul leadership feels like. You're not the bystander. You're not waiting. You're not the victim. You're bringing all of you on board and you're saying, okay, right, enough's enough. And that is so powerful, my friends, because that starts to send out a really clear signal that is driven by a clear and clean internal decision. I am available for more. I am available for the timeline where this already exists. I know it's here. It's in my field. And I decide this for myself. That's one of the most loving things that you can do. I love myself. I love my soul so much. I'm deciding this for me. Now, the universe responds to your energy more than your words. This is why, mindset is an aspect. Mindset is an aspect. We can do all of the mindset stuff. But where's your energy? Where's your frequency? How are you feeling in your body? Have you got your body on board? 8. So when you can get clear on that, you're clearer on what you are projecting out there, what you are broadcasting. So that decisiveness is the first code. The second one is, I wanted to bring both of these in because they work together and they're equally important, and it is availability and receptivity. And I'm really big on feeling the energy of words. So that decisiveness gave clarity, right? That is a masculine aspect of manifestation. You have to decide. You've got to get clear on what you want. You've got to know and stand behind it by saying, this is it, right? The second key code here, availability and receptivity. This is the feminine aspect. Right? We need both because we are both. And some of us will get really big in the masculine energy and we'll go into doing, forcing, hustling, controlling, striving, all of that is masculine energy. And we are closed off in this code in availability and receptivity, which asks, can you actually receive it? Are you ready? The universe is here, handing it to you on a platter, right here at your door, knocking. What does that feel like in your body? The $5 million in the bank account, the loving soulmate relationship, the dream home, the lottery win, like it's at your door knocking. What does it feel like in your body to open that door and receive it? You can desire something deeply and still be unavailable for it. And I see this all the time. The mind says one thing, your subconscious is saying something completely different. And so we hover, we stay in the void, we stay in the gap until we can bring both our mind and our heart into energetic coherence, our conscious and subconscious aspects of us into resonance. So a lot of people say that they want expansion, they want more, they want this, they want that. Meanwhile, they're still operating as the one who likes to control things. They're still busy chasing. They're still busy proving. They're still co-signing limitation. They're still saying yes when they mean to say no. They're still holding themselves back. They're still worried about being visible. They're still busy gripping. They're still attaching to outcomes. How does that energy feel? Quantum leap requires, this is really important, space, energetic space and room. Right? Let's say you've got someone that wants to come over and they want to bring you this beautiful big present. Again, the universe has this beautiful present for you. It's what you desire. But meanwhile, you have this room, right? It's going to be delivered into this room or this garage. If it's a bit like my garage at the moment, it's full of shit, right? Of stuff, of the way that you're controlling, of where you're still outsourcing your power. You've got another corner that's clogged up with all of the old limiting beliefs. You've got another part of the room where you're still very much attached to outcomes and you're gripping. You've got another part of the room where you don't know how to receive. And so the universe is like, there's no space for this girl. You got to clean this up because space is needed. You have to clean up your vessel. This light, this vision, this dream, this abundance, it's here. There's no problem in that. It's here. It's ready to come in. Where are you putting it? Can you receive it? Do you know how to hold it? So availability makes energetic room for it. Receptivity opens up your body and your nervous system to start to let it in. We are vibrational beings. We are energy. What does energy do? It moves, it fluctuates, it vibrates. It's not constricted, it's not stagnant. But yet, all of these things and these patterns are pulling you into density, where in order for you to get onto the vibration of what you desire, what do you require? You require that higher frequency, which means we require lightness. We require space. We require clarity. We require room. So, this is where I see most people struggle and bounce back into old ways, right? Because we need to bring our body on board, and people are not used to doing this. They're used to purely operating from the mind. And this is where the whole mindset movement, I think, has maybe overcooked it into mind and into concepts and into intellectualizing manifestation, where it's a body experience. It needs to be embodied. So when we have availability, we send a signal out to the universe that says, okay, I've made space for this. When we have receptivity, we send a signal out that says, I can safely receive and hold this. There's nothing standing in the way. There's no big blocks at the door. Most people don't know how to receive what they're asking for because we've been taught to give and to overgive and to self-sacrifice, but we haven't been taught how to receive. In fact, many have coded within them, have these old distortion codes that says it's not safe for me to receive. Whether that's love, whether that's compliment, whether that's help. How can we be inviting in abundance if we don't know how to allow help in? If we don't know how to allow somebody else to give to us? If we don't know how to give to ourselves? Okay? So if you are desiring expansion while energetically bracing against receiving it, it's not going to happen. You're going to keep circling around until you decide again, until you choose again, until you invest in yourself, until you do the inner work that's required. So receptivity is this feminine technology of manifestation, and it is everything, my friends. So can you be willing to ask yourself, really honestly, am I available to receive what I say that I want? You are not available to receive what you say you want if your schedule is full to the brim of social events, of all the way that you run yourself ragged, of all of the things that you do. No space, no availability. Can I soften enough to let this in? When we soften, we know we're safe, right? We're not bracing. Can I release the identity? This is a huge one. Like, can I release the identity that says this is too big for me? I don't deserve this. Like, these are the programs that are likely running in the background if you are not receiving what it is that you say you're desiring. Have you got a program that's saying, I have to earn this through struggle because that's always what I've done and that's what's been coded in me, right? Because this is what my system is wired for. That feels normal. When something feels normal, we attract more of that in. So we've got to get really good at allowing $1 million in our business or $100,000 month or whatever it is, or a man in our life or a woman in our life who loves us, who gives us to us, who adores us, like who cares for us, like all those things that you say that you desire, we have to normalize that in order to let it in. We have to know that that's safe. And so this is one of the biggest shifts here to be embodied in order to enable a quantum leap. And it requires devotion. It requires surrender, the big S word. It's not easy. It requires softening. And then the last key code that I want to share with you that's really probably one of the biggest is certainty. Certainty is the key code of the universe, my friends. The universe breathes certainty. It exists on certainty. If you've been in my teachings before, you know how important this is. It's a very Kabbalistic teaching as well. So when you actually learn how to embody certainty, anything is possible. And this is, I would say, one of the biggest ways that I have quantum leaped in my life, that things have occurred beyond logic very quickly, has been driven by the energy of certainty. When you learn to embody this, like anything becomes available to you, anything is possible. Now, certainty doesn't mean that you know the how, right? It doesn't mean that this is exactly how it's going to work out. But it means that you're no longer negotiating with limitation and with probability. This is the energetic frequency of it's done, it's done, it's mine, it's here. Feel that energy. That's what collapses time, because it collapses contradiction. It collapses the wavering, the worrying, the outsourcing of power. Opposite of worry is certainty, right? So certainty requires this deep level of trust. Like, it requires us to walk in faith, to trust in what you can't see yet in order to bring it into form, which really is about trusting in who you are as a soul, because the biggest aspect of you cannot see. You might sense it and feel it in meditation. And when you get to that 0 point and you feel how phenomenally expansive you are, that you are light, that you are source. But what you can see here in your physicality, this human form, is merely an aspect of you. And yet we trust. There's so much that we trust in that we can't see. There is so much that we trust in that we can't see. So what if you decided to have certainty in your dreams before they're realized? What if you decided to believe in the unseen as if it is fact, as if it is a given, just like you believe in electricity, even though you can't necessarily see it? You believe in Wi-Fi, even though you can't necessarily see it. We're always looking for evidence. But what happens when you become the evidence, right? So quantum leap happens when your inner certainty is stronger than the external evidence, because your certainty is the evidence. And you become available for timelines beneath what your soul already knows is possible. Your soul already knows what's available for you. Your soul already has the whole picture. Start to embody that. Really start to let your soul lead and call the shots. When you do that, you are living by certainty. But most of us are used to letting our mind and our ego call the shots. Ego mind does not know the way. It does not have the map. It's creating your reality by looking back in the past or predicting based on logic and probability and past performance and evidence. Okay? That's when we're in lack and limitation. So these 3 codes, decision, availability and receptivity, and certainty, are the ones that you need to begin to embody to become the match for the life that is here, waiting to be lived through you. But we have to be willing to shift out. It's just a shift out of the old paradigm and an anchoring of the new, which is outside of linear thinking. And this is going to challenge you, which is why so many people struggle to anchor it in, because it's outside linear thinking. It's outside evidence-based safety. It's outside waiting for permission. It's outside the familiar identity. In fact, all of those things are the things that are keeping you away from it. So you need to be willing to live by your soul guidance and your soul authority until that new life feels natural. That's when you quantum leap. This is where you remember that this is how it's supposed to be. I am meant to become available for this. I am meant to have it all. It's that energy. And this is the paradigm we shift into and we anchor fully in my 3-month program, Soul Power, which is a mastermind. We are starting in June. And we go for 12 weeks. We meet every week. We have a live call. This is a high vibrational space that actually starves out the old timelines and the outdated paradigm of lack and uncertainty. We untether from that old identity that keeps pulling you back into familiar situations and keeps recreating from your patterning and your conditioning. So I know what it takes to stop looping and spiraling around the threshold that just keeps you almost there. And we can stay in almost there for months, for years. We can stay there for a lifetime rather than living now this evolved identity, quantum leaping into this reality that is here for you when you say yes. And it takes devotion and consistency, which is why we're meeting every week for 12 weeks. It's why we have a spiritual community. It's why we stay connected most days, because it often requires someone that can hold, and other people that you can share that vision with, that can hold that high level vision for you until it fully anchors, until it becomes your new normal. And it takes embodied action and the moment of choosing through your true soul-led identity. It's such powerful work, like what becomes available in a group setting. This is why I love doing the group programs, because collectively we raise the frequency. And in my experience, we're able to collapse time so much quicker when we have these group settings where you can be held accountable, where you can continue to each day walk as her, live as her, breathe as her. The quantum leap is no longer just a possibility, it's actually inevitability, because your current self stops waiting and starts behaving as the version of you who already lives in that reality. But it requires that daily alignment. It requires remembering your truth, living as that, being led by that higher level guidance, and choosing that higher timeline again and again until it's sustained. So if that speaks to you, now is the time to say yes. Now is the time to join. The details are in the show notes. And those takeaways from this episode, I want you to, and you might want to listen to it again and just feel each of those codes. Feel each of those codes in your body, because it's already alive within you. It's just a matter of activating that. I really hope this helps. Please feel free to share this with someone you love. I would love it if you could like, subscribe, give us a review, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Thank you so much for being here.